Welcome, everyone. And today we're going to go over the 2025 Partner Agency Agreement. What I'll cover is do a little bit of summary of some of the sections and really talk more about the changes. If there are questions about any particular section or verbiage or language, feel free to ask those questions and we can go ahead and get that clarified today. Nothing's really changed in the terms of this contract. And when you are reviewing your contract and having folks at your agency and your 501c3 look it over, the changes will populate in red. This year we have two addendums. One is for Fresh Track and or Service Insights on Meal Connect. That is our client intake system that is cloud-based, and it's only for pantries and those pantries that are currently participating in it. And the formerly known as Partner Driven Pounds is the Retail Food Recovery Program. So any pantry, meal site agency that does participate in recovering donated product from retailers, they must complete this addendum and also work with our team here at the Food Bank, Kathleen Passetti, to make sure that those arrangements are all according to our contract with Feeding America. Nothing's really changed for the Food Bank on our end. We continue to say that we're going to work with you as long as you are a 501c3 and really working with those folks that are in need of emergency food. We will work our darndest to make sure that the quality of the food that we are getting is top of the line. This is still food banking, but we really know that we want good quality food that we are sending out to our partners to distribute to our community members. We will be taking a look at all that product as it's coming in. We are properly storing it just like we expect our partners to do. All of the products should have ingredients listed and we will know where it's coming from. So it is approved vendors. We know that it's coming from someplace safe. We will also be responsible for determining whether an agency is eligible for TFAP, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, those products, as well as HIPNAP, the Hunger Prevention Nutrition Assistance Program. And then we will guide those eligible agencies to the product or the grants that are available to them. We also say that we will do a direct delivery to you, to your door, if you have a minimum of 750 pounds of product on an order. We'll let you know ahead of time when we're coming. And also, we are responsible and we will be coming out at least every other year to do a compliance site visit. And this includes food safety around storage and distribution, proper record keeping, and we will do our best to make sure that we're giving you at least 2 business days notice if we do have to cancel. Oftentimes we get donations sent to us on behalf of your program. Any donation that comes into us, even if we're putting it onto your account, we're going to handwrite and send a thank you letter to that donor on your behalf. We'll also let you know when those donations come in. We'll notify you. We're going to provide you with a ton of trainings and workshops and just time to collaborate and network with your cohorts across your network. Now, we're going to keep you updated on any changes to any of our policies or the creation of new ones, much of which will drop down into your agreement here. We do reserve the right to publicize and let folks in the community know where your pantry or meal site is, what your agency is, what your service hours are, and how folks can get a hold of you to get resources. We do not need to notify you about this ahead of time. We do try to let you know if we are letting folks know where you are and what you're doing. And we are very committed to our organizational values. This is red, so we have had an update to our previous values. And so instead of 6, we now only are focusing on 4: inclusion, integrity, learning, and generosity. Brand new to this contract, and this is coming from requirements from Feeding America. Doesn't really change how we're working with you. It just cleans up and trims down the language a little bit better. All right, you guys are going to make sure that the folks that you're giving the food to are in need of it. Basically, if they're coming to see you, they're probably in need of it. You will also take appropriate administrative and technical measures designed to protect the individual's privacy and data confidentiality and security. Super important. you're not talking or sharing information about the people you're serving. It's protected information. Another bit of language that came to us from Feeding America is that you agree to receive, store, transfer, use, and handle products safely and properly in accordance with the applicable law. So this is talking about that donated product specifically, but it does kind of cover everything else that you're getting from us. But when they talk about law, it's the donated product. The partner agency agrees to comply with the policies, procedures, and record-keeping requirements of the food bank.
What records do we need to keep for 3 years?
Wonderful question. So we're talking about TEFAP attestations. So if you are a pantry and you offer TEFAP product, you must make sure that your clients are completing at least annually a TEFAP attestation. So you have to hold on to those for 3 years plus the current year. The good news is if you are on Fresh Track or Service Insights on Meal Connect, it's already saved in the system. Invoices. Anytime you receive a delivery from us, you also receive an invoice that you have to sign off on. Hold on to those for 3 years plus the current year, because in your recipient agency, that Appendix A TEFAP agreement, those are your bills of lading. That's showing that you received TEFAP products. So you have to hold on to those for 3 years plus the current year. So we're talking about your statistics, your invoices, attestations. So statistics, if you are not on Service Insights on Meal Connect or Fresh Track, however you're tracking your stats, we need to keep that information 3 years plus the current year. Okay? And now when we're thinking about, maybe you might receive a grant from us, anything that is involving money or funds or grants, that's the IRS. And the golden rule with the IRS is 7 years. You're going to allow us to promote your services. You're not going to require those donations from clients. A client will not be obliged to make a donation to the agency in exchange for food. And these can be implied. So it's not that you're calling out, you must donate something or you must give something. If you even have like a donation jar out during a pantry hours, the donation is implied. You can't even do that. So we love donation jars, just don't have it out while you're distributing food. New language again this year. A lot of this stuff has already been in our contract. We're just tightening up the language. You agree to maintain records that reflect the total amount of product received from the food bank. So this is those also on those invoices. So this could be product that you receive through retail pickup or from orders from us. But the good news is you may not see those invoices for your retail pickup, but they're in your account on PWW. So it's not that you have to do more. Some of this stuff is automatically being saved. Let us know if there's any changes to your program. You got to post your hours and also emergency contact if somebody needs food in an emergency on the exterior of your building. Please post that proud partner of the Food Bank of the Southern Tier sign. If you don't have one, let us know. We'll get one out to you in the mail. This one is a really big one, and I probably should just bold this because this happens all too often. Food pantries are not food banks. They are completely different. And by identifying as a food bank, you're in violation of the contract. A food bank is a warehouse that distributes to pantries. Pantries is like a free grocery store that community members can go to get staple items. Sometimes it's a training thing, like got to remember to change it. I knew when I first came to the food bank, I didn't know the difference either. And I had to work really hard to make sure that I never called a pantry a food bank and I never called a food bank a pantry. You also agreed to engaging with the media. Give us a shout out because guess what? We're going to do the same for you. Please don't disparage the food bank or food bank partners or staff or volunteers. And this could be verbal, it could be written, anything that could be reasonably perceived as negative about the other party. And this includes, but is not limited to, the products, the services, staff, buildings, whatever it might be. We just don't want to throw shade on anyone. You may not participate in a retail donor pickup program without a signed agreement addendum from the food banks. Partner agencies agreed to abide by our organizational values when engaging with food bank staff and your communities. It's that inclusion, integrity, learning, and generosity, and all that encompasses. Have a better language around the civil rights requirements. You just can't discriminate based on those federally protected classes. And added in here, new with our civil rights is as a protected veteran or as otherwise prohibited under the current USDA non-discrimination statement. Not sure what the USDA non-discrimination statement is? It's on your And Justice for All poster. So if there are any unresolved civil rights issues at your program, this actually may result in a reduced, suspended, or revocation of access to the TFAP product, your HIPNAP grants, your county grants, or even a partnership with us. We take these situations very seriously. What might these issues be? It could be reluctance to address a situation that has a complaint put forward, reluctance to participate in any performance improvement plan around a situation, reluctance to take any of the required trainings, not completing your civil rights annual required trainings for all of your staff and volunteers that come in contact with the public. If you absolutely refuse to do that, you're going to lose access. We also linked the 2025 version of the civil rights training, the slides in your electronic version of this, so you can always access it there. It's also on our website. You must have posted where the people that you're serving can see it, the client bill of rights, the program bill of rights, the written notice of beneficiary rights, and the And Justice for All poster. Just put them up prominently, proudly. These are things that you guys are standing behind. Many of our programs are housed in churches, or the sponsor organization is a church. Your program does not require individuals to attend a religious service or subscribe to any religious denominations to receive food, nor may you or any other party actively distribute religious materials to clients. That religious materials, I need to explain that is not just like a handout or a pamphlet that you're handing to people as they're waiting in line to use the pantry. That also includes music. All right, nothing's changed with ordering. We will determine your delivery day, and it's going to be based on capacity and route logistics. All of your orders must be submitted by 10 a.m. 2 business days prior. And this is a pickup or a delivery. Same thing goes if you want to add or make a second order, it's still at 10 a.m. 2 business days prior. And it goes into a little bit more detail here about when you're placing those orders. You always have to select that delivery time. We call out the fact that delivery time on our PWW is not your delivery time that we're coming out. That's just your placeholder saving your order and putting it in the queue to get a delivery. We will call you with that 15-minute window. Please don't call us. We are working really hard to get a hold of every program that's getting a delivery that day. And it may not be at 8 o'clock that you get your call every day. It might be 8 o'clock, it might be 8:45, depending on how many other orders and agencies we have to call ahead of yours. Invoices and billing. You must sign 2 invoices when you receive your delivery. 1 copy comes back to us. We hold it and we keep these records just as long as you do. Hold on to those, file them away. They must be kept on site. Don't take them offsite to your home office for safekeeping. If you have to, put a small filing cabinet in your pantry at your meal site so you have them on site. All items are accepted as is as a condition. Any product discrepancies or damaged items, you got to tell us within 1 business day. And we're going to work with you to get all the information that we need. Give us the invoice number, product number, tell us what's going on. We love photos, especially if there's some damaged product. You'll ensure that those invoices are signed and kept on file, like I said, and keep your accounts with us current. Pay off the statements once a month and just monitor your grant balances. Please remember, we cannot accept personal checks. They must come from your agency. And unfortunately, we don't do cash or credit card payments as yet. If you do owe us money and it hits 90 days past due, you're going to hear from me. We'll give you time to make that payment, talk to us. We will work with you on payment plans and whatnot. It is your responsibility to make sure everything gets paid. Food safety and storage. Obviously, you guys are going to ensure that safe and proper food handling of all the product is done, and this includes those donated products. Again, these regulations are coming from Feeding America, New York State, the USDA. So this is information coming down. We're not just making this stuff up. We also abide by these food safety regulations. Some new language here. Partner agency understands that donated product may have dates past the stamped use by, sell by, best by dates, and that these products are given extensions based on the guidelines provided by the USDA. We have a couple of handouts, some cheat sheets. Is this food still good to eat? That list out what these extensions are. You're not sure? Talk to your programs and partnerships coordinator. They can get you this information. You must have at least 1 person that is actively working in your pantry on site for when you get a delivery and during distribution that has had the safe food handling class. That is that food safety training that we provide free of charge. It is good for 5 years. We do recommend that you have at least 2 people because sometimes people want to go on vacation. We do provide quarterly food safety trainings, and we also accept ServSafe and New York State Department of Health food safety trainings to fulfill these requirements. You just have to give us the certificate. Kitchen lead for every meal site must be certified with the Food Protection Manager certification. This is a big lift. There's a cost to this. However, if folks at a meal site want to go out and get their own training or equivalent training from a county or another resource, they can pay for that and then send us a certificate, or you can actually take the course through us. We offer it 2 different ways. You can do an in-person with Eric. He is a certified instructor and we'll pay for that. Or you can come down here and do it online in-house for us to proctor. And Bree and I can also proctor those exams and we'll cover the cost for that. If you choose not to come to the food bank for these trainings, you do have to pay for it out of pocket. It is a requirement. You must have that ServSafe or Food Protection Manager certification to have a community meal. Number 6, what we added here, so we had the language around keeping your space secure, dry, pest-free, and food up off the floor by 6 inches. We're adding the rest of it because there is more to this that you learn in your food safety training. Not only is it 6 inches off the floor, it's 4 inches away from exterior walls and at least 12 inches from the ceiling. Make sure you're dating all of your cases when you receive them and then doing first in, first out. Any product that you are receiving from us that needs to be refrigerated, you must store it in a refrigerator. If it's coming to you from us frozen, you must store it frozen. And make sure that you are storing them in adequate sized units. Each of your cold storage units will have a working thermometer. We do not use the digital thermometers that many of the refrigerators and freezers come with. They're highly inaccurate. So you must have a standalone inside the refrigerator or the freezer. And you must record those temperatures at least once a week on a temperature log. When your programs and partnerships coordinator comes out for a site visit, or the Office of General Services comes for a visit, or HIPNEP comes for a visit, they're going to be looking for those temp logs and making sure that they are completed accurately and regularly. You may not repack products other than fresh produce or bakery items, ensuring to follow the required repack guidelines. Do not cut into any pies. Do not repack any cut fruit. Don't open up any pasta bags and resize the pasta down smaller. You absolutely cannot take frozen chicken breasts and break it up into smaller units. And if you're doing bakery items and fresh produce, hair back, hat, hairnet, gloves, tongs, whatever it might be, make sure it's a dedicated clean space. And you're ensuring that the food safety guidelines are being followed. Only store food bank products on site, and the spaces that you're storing at have been approved by FBST. If you suddenly run out of space and you're like, oh, there's a storage closet down the hallway, if we haven't seen it and approved it, you can't use it. So make sure that you let us know if there's ever a case for that. We need to approve the space, and absolutely no storing off-site into private residences or like the fire department's refrigerator. You are responsible for doing any food recalls if there are any, and you are notified. So ensuring that you have the correct client information, whether it's a phone number or an email address, is super important. Another reason why it's good if you're a pantry to be on Fresh Track or Service Insights on Meal Connect. All that information is readily at your fingertips. Nothing's really changed with site visits. We're coming out. We're going to check food safety compliance. We're also just going to check in that everything's going well for you. We're going to give you a heads up and notify you if we can't make it. Number 3, you understand that we do reserve the right as the food bank, as HIPNAP, as OGS to come out and do an unannounced site visit during your distribution hours. Do we do that as a rule? Absolutely not. Are there exceptions? Absolutely. We might come out. But for the most part, and for most of our partners, we're going to let you know when we're coming. You agree to a preliminary on-site visit by any of our partners or any of our representatives during any time that you are going to change location or maybe change a delivery spot where you're going to temporarily store product. We just need to know. We need to come out and do those preliminary approvals. And here it is stated that HIPNAP and OGS can come out on announced visits at any time. They typically do give you a heads up, at least 2 weeks notice. Statistics, nothing has changed. If you are submitting statistics through PWW, you must submit by the 5th of the following month. If you are in Fresh Track or Service Insights, make sure all of your people served is completed by the 3rd of the following month. Some new language in here is that any Fresh Track or Service Insights entries made after that point for the previous month may not be counted towards your service statistics for HIPMAP funding. So keep that in mind. If you aren't getting your Fresh Track data submitted, or not submitted, but marked as served in a timely fashion, it could impact your funding. If you are late for stats, there are some consequences and they are called out here. So please, please, please don't be late getting your stats in. More importantly, if you know your stats are going to be late, communicate to us. Tell us what is going on, because you're getting it to us. We then have to compile all of it, turn it around, and submit it to New York State. And we don't want to jeopardize our funding and our contract by having late submissions. Some new language here around liability. And this is directly from our contract with Feeding America. So partner agency acknowledges that the original donor, the food bank, and Feeding America offer no express warranties in relation to the donated product. You also release the original donor, the food bank, and Feeding America from any liabilities resulting from this donated product. You hold a harmless and indemnify the original donor, the food bank, and Feeding America from any claims or obligations arising from donated product or conditions or activities at agency partner locations. And you also agree to adhere to additional donor stipulations. This is really, it's as is product. Okay, you get it. It's nobody's trying to give you bad product. Nobody's trying to give you damaged product, but you also understand it's still donated. So some of that stuff might come through. And it's just releasing at all of the parties that is getting this donated product and allowing you access to it. It's letting us off the hook for liability. Really calling out that donated product. And if you're curious and love to read legal law, which, it's great bedtime reading, you can go to the IRS website and look for Section 170E3. This actually calls out a lot of the language that we put in here around the use of donated product. Who's eligible, how do you have access to it, what can you do with it, what can't you do with it, it's all right there. So number 3, this language is brand new. The partner agency may not engage in sub-distribution of product received from the food bank without a signed agreement from the food bank. Let me explain to you what this is. You go to a coalition meeting and somebody raises their hand saying, hey, we have 5 cases of lentils that we can't move. Can anybody take it? And then somebody else is like, yeah, we can move that. Our clients love lentils. And then historically, you've been like, hey, guys, hey, Devin, hey, Amanda, can we go ahead and share this? And we'll give you a verbal saying, sure. Absolutely not anymore. Feeding America says no. We have to have a written agreement that states that you will be able to sub-distribute a product to another location. Some more language around the use of product. Any food bank product, not just donated. It cannot be used for anything other than the function of your program. So if you are a pantry, you cannot use any of that food to support a banquet or a party or a fundraiser, any events or business meetings. This also means that if you receive any cleaning products from us as a pantry or toilet paper, it cannot be used in your program, in your bathroom. It can't be used to clean your program. It can only be used to distribute to your clients. Food bank products cannot be given to staff or volunteers as incentives for their personal use. So it's that cherry picking. Make sure that everybody is registered as clients and they go through your pantry as needed. And then they have full access to everything. So you want to make sure that there's equitability across the board for anybody who's receiving food from you. Non-food donated products will not be used in the partner agency operations of upkeep. That's the toilet paper. That's the pens and pencils. That's the cleaning products. Donated product may not be consumed, food or non-food, including consumption of beverages, but by volunteers when carrying out assigned duties. If you get a load of beverages from us or water, it must be put out for the clients. Any food or beverages consumed by your volunteers or staff must be provided from someplace other than the food bank, brought in from home or provided by another resource, and not consumed in the distribution area. So just keep in mind, shared maintenance, no changes here. It is still 6 cents a pound for donated product from our menu. And that we add that in accordance with the IRS Rule 170E3. Sometimes suspensions, terminations do happen with any agreement in any industries. We call out what those stipulations are here in our contract. This is not changed. There is a grievance process if you want to go through it for whatever reasons. But really, this calls out like we're going to work with you. And we also want to make sure that we're setting you up for success. So there may be performance improvement plans put in place to get you back up to compliance if we find that you are out of compliance. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that you are able to do the work that you're doing, but do it safely, do it above board, in compliance. We don't want to stop people's access to food, but we want to make sure that their access to food is held to the highest standard. And that's why we have this in here. All right, let's move on to order, delivery, pickup section. Nothing has changed here in this portion around what we're agreeing to do. We're going to get you food. We're going to do our darndest to get it done and do it effectively and efficiently. And if we did make a mistake, we are going to work really hard to fix it. What has changed for you is the minimum amount that you need to place an order for to receive a direct delivery. We put this in place last year, but nothing else has changed. Make sure that we have that dependable contact, give a call to, an email to, or a text to the morning of. The space, we have great space to set up our truck for delivery, park, unload. It's always safe. It's accessible. You guys are doing your due diligence in removing the snow and the ice. We want to make sure that our drivers are safe when they're delivering to you. Also, that the people coming, whether it's a volunteer, staff, or a client coming to your program, is safe. So get rid of the snow, get rid of the ice. Set up a designated area where we're going to drop the pallets, but also where are you putting those pallets after you've unloaded them so that when we come back, have them ready for us so that we can load them up and get them out of there. Same thing with boxes. Keep them readily available for us. Make sure you have enough staff or volunteers available to do the pickup or to accept that delivery. And we just can't guarantee any delivery times. It really does vary depending on how many orders and the amount of pounds going out. And you agree to unload the products from the pallets and store the food inside immediately. You're not leaving it and waiting to take care of it. If you choose to come to the food bank, just give us a call when you show up. We'll give you instructions on where to go. And again, those orders 2 business days by 10 a.m. Your vehicle must be clean and free of garbage and debris. All orders, if you come and you have a pickup truck, if you don't have a cap on that truck, you must cover the product in the bed of the truck with a tarp. Any open pickup trucks must use a tarp. If you have it, thermal blankets are great. If you don't, maybe you might want to invest in some, or coolers or whatever if you have cold products. Our snow policy or state of emergency policy, look, if deliveries from us may be delayed or canceled if the schools in your county or service area are closed on that delivery day and there are hazardous conditions. More likely than not, we're still coming out. It's very rare that we don't come out, even if you guys have bad weather. If schools are closed in Chemung County due to hazardous conditions, there might be a delay. Rarely canceled, but on occasion, we will cancel if the food bank closes. We'll be in touch with you. And if the state of emergency is declared in Chemung County or your agency's county, we're not coming. If we're not able to get to you due to inclement weather, we'll either move your order to the next available day that we can find, maybe the next week. We will call you, email you, find out what you want us to do with your order. And also, we'll contact any agency that's actually coming to pick up. And it's also your responsibility that if we have to cancel your delivery, you got to tell your workers about it. All right. So let them know what's going on. Piggyback deliveries. Many of you know the term, and what a piggyback agency is a host agency is where we send your delivery if you can't meet weight. You have to sign off on this, and that host agency has to sign off on it. This delivery system applies when a partner orders below the delivery minimum and is unable to receive it. In cases, your partner must coordinate to have the delivery received by the nearby partner agency. So if you do have this set up with another agency, please, please, please notify them ahead of time what your plan is, because if they don't have a delivery coming that day and you put one on for a piggyback, you're not getting your order, because it only works if they're getting an order. They're going to go ahead and sign on here, whether or not they're getting whoever it is and where it's going. If you're not able to meet that 750-pound minimum, in order to get a piggyback, you still have a minimum weight requirement, and it has to be 200 pounds. If you need something from us and it's less than 200 pounds, you might want to send somebody to the food bank to pick it up if it's super, super important that you have it. Food pantries only. Here's your pantry addendum. This hasn't changed much either. So you're going to be open at least once per month, and you have established hours, and you're there the whole time. You're not leaving because it's really slow for that last 30 minutes. You're still there in case somebody comes in. You agree to collaborate with the other agencies in your area. Your hours of operation are clearly posted, and you share that, and it is on our website, and you have this wonderful network to connect with. And if there are those daily changes, you do let us know, because it might impact some of the work that we're doing. Your pantry provides clients with a minimum supply of 3 days worth of food per New York State Department of Health Hunger Prevention Nutrition Assistance Program guidelines. We really just wanted to call out, like, we're not just telling you willy-nilly that you need to provide at least 3 days. New York State tells us you have to provide at least 3 days. We would love it if you can provide more than that. And if you can't, then maybe letting folks come more often is the solution. But we really wanted to call out, like, where some of this is coming from. You practice client choice. This is not an option. This is a requirement. All food pantries must practice client choice. What type of client choice, what method, is entirely up to the pantry. You could offer different types of client choice, where somebody could do order ahead, or they can order off of menu, do curbside, they can come in and shop. Or if you just want to allow folks to come in and shop, then that's what you do. You can also do the reverse of it. We have at least one agency that kind of operates like a mobile, and that everybody gets everything unless they're told we don't want that. And because they can say we don't want something, it's still client choice. Your pantry serves anyone that comes to you at least once. This is that serve and refer. So if they're coming to you and they're outside your service area, you got to serve them, but then let them know where they can get food closer to home, or have that conversation because maybe they work in your service area and you are the better fit. Your pantry does not require clients to provide social security numbers to receive food, and does not write down or otherwise record social security numbers. This was in here already, but it wasn't as clearly called out. And we really wanted to emphasize this a little bit more. Absolutely not. No social security numbers. Just don't do it. If you are a program that offers other services where you have to take in social security numbers, like maybe you're doing rent support or something like that, keep it separate from the food. If you are a new pantry, you must agree to do service insights within 3 months. You do a complete intake form at least once a year. If you're on Fresh Track or Service Insights on Meal Connect, the information is there. When they're coming, you're going through that information. You're just asking them, is this stuff still current? It's wonderful. It's on the computer. You're good to go. If you are not on Service Insights or Fresh Track, you have to pull out your notebook or your 3-ring binder or your card catalog and check each client at least once a year. I know many pantries do this in January. They just go through and do everybody. It's a great practice. You got to do it at least once a year. Your pantry keeps daily distribution log and record of the number of people coming in. And we call out children, adults, seniors, and households. Pantries only, they're the only ones that do households. So make sure you're getting all 4 buckets. We want you at the coalition meetings. If you yourself can't go, see who else is working at your pantry, whether it's a volunteer or a staff member that might be interested. You may not get a lot out of it, but you might be able to contribute a lot, or vice versa. It's not really specifically necessarily about you, but about the collective you and in your county. You're part of a bigger whole. You're not in your own little island out there doing this work. There's more than one person in your pantry that has knowledge of the daily operations. And this includes ordering from us, managing your volunteers, handling the finances. This is your bench strength. Think about your succession planning. You don't want all this information to live with one person because something catastrophic could happen, or that person just gets burnt out and they leave, and then you're up a creek without a paddle, so to speak. And this has happened, and we want to ensure that this doesn't continue to happen to our partners. So cross train. Your volunteers are non-judgmental. You have that compassion button. You really want to uphold and respect the dignity of the people that you're serving, and you're really committed to maintaining their confidentiality and their this is paramount to your volunteers. So really instill that in your group. Post that client bill of rights, your program bill of rights in a prominent location, including the beneficiary rights letter and your and Justice for All poster. Receive those donated foods and funds from the community. Please share to clients information about WIC, information about SNAP. Work within your community. It's not all about handing out food. There is an education piece around this and why somebody would utilize a food pantry. It is not just the poorest of the poor. We actually have so many working families that struggle to make ends meet. And educating your community can go a long way to leveling out the playing field so there isn't so much hate and stigma and just misinformation around this. And you're going to follow the TFAP agreement, that Appendix A that you all have signed. If you are on Fresh Track and Service Insights on Meal Connect, there's specific data in here. You're going to talk about the period of agreement. This is for the entire, your period of agreement is like for at least 10 years. Any of this data can be shared up to that point. So this is going to renew annually automatically, but you are responsible for maintaining the confidentiality, and we will maintain confidentiality of client-specific information. We are committed to protecting that client's privacy. Access to the data covered by this agreement will be limited to the minimum number of individuals necessary to achieve the purpose stated in this agreement. So what this means is any individual with access to collect and or use this must sign the confidentiality agreement. So if you are utilizing this, anytime your volunteer logs in, they have to check off that they agree to the confidentiality agreement. We will establish those physical safeguards. These are measures and policies and procedures to protect the entity's electronic information and the building and equipment from natural. So we're putting this stuff in, right? There are device locks set in place. You have password protection on your device locks and on the internet network. We really make sure that nobody can get to this information. We may share client data with trusted organizations. Really, the reason why we would share any data like this, and it's not like an individual's name. It's never going to be that. It's never going to be that kind of personal data. It's going to be aggregate data. So it's going to be like, hey, yeah, we serve this percentage of veterans. So we're going to talk to the VA about like, hey, look, there's this many veterans in our service area that are accessing emergency food. And maybe that can help drive more services, okay? We may contact clients via text, phone call, or email to alert them about other services that they might be eligible for. And any of our texting and calls like that are always opt-out options. And we reserve the right to terminate at any time. You must have your policy summary or your data, your rights, all of this language visible to clients when you're doing intakes. So there should be these like little disclaimers of what is going on and what you're doing with that data so that they know what information they're giving you and that it's protected. Access to the data covered by this agreement shall be limited to the minimum number of individuals necessary. So maybe not all of your volunteers should be able to access Fresh Track, maybe just a core group that have been trained and fully understand the ramifications around the confidentiality. You always may share aggregated data, never names, never addresses, never phone numbers, none of the personal data, aggregated data, which is all of the information pulled together. So this many households, this many children, this many adults. You can share that, like if you're doing grant applications or you're reporting to the community, maybe a village board, whatever that might be. Absolutely use that. You may not share any of that personal identifiable information that I just talked about. Just as the food bank has those physical safeguards in place to make sure that nobody can access the information in FreshTrack, you all must also. So that means you have locks on your computers. You also have a locked facility where that computer lives so that nobody can access it. You're not sharing passwords and login information. Access to the coordinator login to pull reports with personally identifiable information will be limited to the coordinator on the account. So it's really going to live with one person who's going to be able to pull those reports. Again, this is another step in preserving that confidentiality. And you're not permitted to access information as it relates to clients visiting other hunger relief organizations. You will know if somebody was served at another food pantry or mobile. What you'll know is that they were served that day. You will never know where they were served. You can request permission to receive reports from us. If you need some data, just tell us what you're looking for. We will get that to you. Give us a reasonable time frame to get that information to you, like 2 weeks, and we'll get it to you. You are responsible for providing the necessary equipment, hardware, secure internet, all of that stuff. You can contact those clients via text or phone call or email, just like you did before you had FreshTrack and you had to reach out to your families. You are responsible for notifying the food bank within 48 hours if we need to change your account. Maybe you no longer have a volunteer that's responsible for something, or your coordinator changes. We need to be able to go in and make those changes so that it remains secure. You are also responsible for reporting monthly statistics to the food bank by the 5th of the following month until, so let's say you're new to FreshTrack, you still have to report by the 5th of the following month in PWW until you are fully on FreshTrack or Cincy, and then mark everybody served by the 3rd of the following month. And you agree to record some additional information when somebody's coming in, checking their race or ethnicity, checking that they receive SNAP. A lot of this is in the attestation and some of it is additional questions, but you're agreeing to do that. And this is going to help us in the long term better provide services to the people we're serving. If you do retail recovery, retail food recovery, this is us ensuring that you have all the things that you need to do. So here we are, we provide you with a bunch of stuff like training, we provide you with equipment, we provide you with the connection. You then have to ensure that your staff or volunteers that handle the retail recovery pickups of products have the accurate and required level of food safety training. You adhere to the food safety requirements that we set forth, that we get guidance from Feeding America, HIPNAP, OGS, and the USDA. You take and document sample temperatures for frozen and refrigerated. So when you go to pick up, you're taking a temp. When you come back to your program with that product, you're taking a temp and you're tracking it, you're writing it down. You adhere to the requirements of the donor's intention. If the donors intended that to be used for your clients at a pantry, they go through, they get access to groceries. That's how you use it. You don't use it for anything else. You distribute with perishable, non-frozen, recovered foods within 24 hours of pickup, unless pickup is over the weekend or delayed by the holiday. So you're not storing the perishable product for 3-4 days before getting it out. The idea is you get it out. And then maintain and properly use any equipment that we supply you with. So this could be those scales, it could be thermometers, thermal blankets. And then if you're no longer using the equipment, or we end our contract, or you no longer are participating in retail pickup, all that equipment comes back to the food bank. When this is brand new, so this is coming from Feeding America. When transporting products, the agency will do so in a manner that prevents contamination and adulteration, including without limitation the following requirements. Temperature controlled for safety. Foods must be staged, transported, and held at temperatures appropriate to the relevant food item. For example, safe temperatures for hot and safe temperatures for cold. When transporting temperature controlled for safety foods, you must use a visible active temperature retention system. This could be a reefer truck, like a refrigerated vehicle, or a passive temperature retention system. So these are those coolers. Maybe a cooler bag, could be thermal blankets, those Cambros, units that can help maintain that cold temperature. And then all vehicles used for transporting this product must have clean food storage areas and be maintained to prevent contamination or adulteration of the transported product. Nothing's changed around the communication part, providing that point of contact for the food bank and the donor site, contacting the food bank if you have any issues with those donors. Don't try to handle it yourself. Really utilize and lean on Kathleen Passetti. She has the golden touch with these relationships. Make sure you're carrying your pantry ID card when you're going to pick up your donor pickups. Maintain the integrity of the pickup schedules. And then make arrangements with those retail donors directly if you're unable to do that during like holidays or inclement weather. If you're unable to pick up, let us know so that we can continue to meet our requirements and those scheduled pickups from those retailers. And work in partnership with the food bank and other entities that are distributing this product that are assigned to the same donor. Documentation, there is some required documentation. You need to document the weight, the product type, and the location of each pickup accurately when you report every month. If a report is missed after the 5th of the month, it should be added to the next current month statistics, because if you miss more than 2 consecutive months by the 5th, you might end up losing access to those retail pickups. Save your documentation log with proof of temperatures until the end of the following month for verification that food safety is practiced. We will allow us to come out and monitor the records and activities, and you're going to adhere to all the policies and procedures that are provided from us, whether it's in trainings or it's other materials. In terms of the agreement, all right, so nothing has really changed here. This is just saying, like, this is what we're agreeing on. It can be terminated at any time by either party. It is good for 1 year period after the date that you sign it. If there are no changes to next year, it will automatically renew for successive 1 year terms without being re-signed. In 2025 for 2026, you're going to have to do this at least one more time. And then you just simply sign off on it. We accept you just typing the name in. Each person should type their own name. That's why we have the collaborate feature on all of our applications. But if for your particular agency, you do require a wet signature, you can go ahead and print this. This is a PDF that you've been viewing this in. You would print this, sign off on it, and then upload it into the grants management system.